anyhow. So welcome everybody, I'm Barb Owen and I'm so glad that you're here on a Friday afternoon. And it's Barb Owen in the studio of Creating Faces and How to Get Creative. Yeah, so anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to everybody that's watching on the recording as well. Thank you for taking your time to watch. And yeah, we'll see how it goes today. I'm here now. That's right. So any of you that are happening to watch this, if you catch the recording like right after I'm off or something, if you are so inclined, I may be streaming late tonight. Those streams, when I do them late at night, I typically don't record because they're boring. Hi, Gwen. But you're welcome to check in. It will be impromptu, and I can't give you a time exactly because I don't know when it will be. Oh, I forgot what your name is. Can Animal. I forgot your name. Tell me again. Anyway, welcome to everybody that's here. So I really don't have anything to show you, so we're just going to get into it. I don't have anything great to do today, so we're just going to kind of play. I am going to show you what we're going to do today is I'm going to cover some new brain fart composition notebooks because I filled up the last one that I was working in, that I was writing in, and I do that April. Okay. Put on my cheat sheet. Welcome, April. Anybody that's in the chat, if you're not signed in, if you want to sign in, making myself a note here. If you'd like to sign in, then it's free. You do a username and a password, it's a free account, and then you can chat with us, and I'd love for you to do that. Hey, Christy, welcome. So anyway, I write in the composition notebooks. I use them for art journals. I use them for lots of different things. But the most recent one that I was working in, I'll show you, and using it as a journal. I also use it to take notes in and, whatever else I can think of. So this is the last one that I finished. Now, I've shown a bunch of these before, but I thought, yeah, I'll just rip through them again because why not? And then we're going to cover some new ones because I'm out. So this one was, this was artwork from a class from Lifebook that was last year. This was Tracy Batista's class. Well, it's my version of Tracy Batista's class, but anyway, you can see that it is full, and it's kind of a brain dump, and also sometimes I take notes from some of the things that I do, some of the classes that I do. Anyway, so I just thought I would show you, but this is sections of paper, individual paper. This is mixed media paper. It's got a lot of texture, which I don't know if you can catch it. There's a lot of texture on it. And so it's strips of mixed media paper done in different configurations, different patterns. They were meant to be different colors and different designs and so forth. And then I put them on using a sticky back, kind of like score tape and sheets. It's kind of that sort of thing. It wasn't that brand, but it was kind of like that. Anyway, this is another one. This one's covered with, some of these are covered with paper, some of them are covered with fabric. This one's covered with fabric. So the fabric came printed with all the words on it. Then I went back and I added, some embellishment with the dots and the, squirrely lines and stuff. And then this was, one day we were playing with this. This is one of those pot holder looms. And so I just did a little sample of the pot holder loom, and so I glued it on the front. Doesn't necessarily go with it, but, hey, what the heck. Hey, Jean, welcome. And this was a little rose. Hopefully you can see it's dimensional. So this one doesn't stack very well, but this was made out of these same loops here. These are strips of t-shirt fabric. They were my husband's t-shirts that I confiscated because the necks were all worn out. And I dyed them using color wash, the Ranger color wash. And so the rose is made the same way, the leaves are made from the same fabric, and so forth. So anyway, there's that one. This one I don't think I've done anything in yet, but it'll get something. This one is done with locker hooking. Hey Pam, welcome to everybody that's coming in. Hi Carol, come on in. And any of you watching that don't know, this is a live recorded class. Well, class. It's not really a class. it's playtime for me. It's just fun time to just hang out with a bunch of friends and do something creative. And if you learn something, that's great. I'm so happy. So come in and make yourself comfortable. Make yourself known if you'd like to. Ask questions if you want. Put them in caps so that I will see them. Anyway, this is a live recorded show, and so I'm talking to people in the chat. So if you hear me referring to people by their names, that's why. So anyway, this one is done with locker hooking is the technique that this is. And this is locker hooking on the back. So this started out as one piece of locker hooking, and I just sort of figured out kind of what I wanted to do, and I locker hooked it all at one time. Anyway, the locker hooking, there is a class that is up on my site, which is HowToGetCreative.com, and you can watch this class. It's a full-length video class that shows you all about doing locker hooking. So you get the idea, and then if you want to cover a composition notebook or something else, you can. But this makes a really thick, see how thick this is? I mean, it really increases the size of the notebook, just so you know. Yeah, I love locker hooking. Okay, and it's an old needle art. Goes back a long way. This one is fabric paper made with a single layer of paper napkin. So this is two different kinds of fabric paper made with paper napkins. That's what this is. The spine is covered with gaffer tape. So this is black gaffer tape that I painted and stenciled. You know, so it doesn't, and when you look at it, you go, that doesn't go together. It's like, but when you put it all together, you know, like this, you see it as an accent. I like it. I like it. Hi, Cindy Lou. It's great to have everybody here. Thank you so much for coming. And these were leftover pieces of the fabric papers. And so I stitched them together and then put them on a piece of cardstock. There is machine stitching on this. Let me show you a close up. I got a lot of stuff on my desk here, so we'll see how. You're going to have to kind of look around all the junk. See if I can make myself a little bit of room here. Okay, now you can see the machine stitching. Okay. Yeah, it's really fun, Christy. It's a really fun thing. So anyway, there is a close-up so you can see the machine stitching. And there's the back so you can see the rest of the machine stitching. Okay. Yeah, gaffer tape is cool stuff. Cool stuff. Comes in colors. Most of everything that I've ever found is solid colors, and so, you know, because it's not an art supply. Well, it is. It's an art supply. It's an art supply if you decide it's an art supply, right? But it's actually used in the entertainment industry. Thanks, Ray. This part of this was the bonus class on the membership website. So there is a class on that. It's a bonus class. This is another big fat one. Let's see, can you see how fat this puppy is? See how fat it is? Yeah, this one's got a lot of stuff in it. This one goes this way. This is my letter practice book, and this is done with deli wrap, as I recall. Sometimes I remember what I do. Sometimes I have to go back and look at my old USTREAM broadcasts and stuff to see what it is I did, because a lot of this stuff I've done in past USTREAMs. It's a chunky one. And this has one of those plastic covers on it, like somebody sent Paula. I don't remember who it was that sent it to her. But I got it at Walmart, and it has the cover slips in, and it has a pocket so you can put stuff in it if you want. I just liked it because it was cool, And so because I wanted this, the way that I did this is all done with my hand-carved stamps or my rubber stamps. The faces are my rubber stamps that you can kind of see in the background. And the way, when I was creating this paper, and whether it was deli paper or mixed media paper, I quite frankly don't remember. But when I was creating it, I accidentally did everything with all the designs pretty much going the same direction. It's a good example for you need to turn the paper when you're working on stuff like this. Turn the paper and stamp in all different directions, because I had, like the balloons and the kites and the faces, the dragonflies, the notes. Everything is the right way, the right way up. So that meant that when I came to this side, I decided that I would just turn it around and put the other piece of it on this side, make it more letter practice. So it's one of those flippy books, when I was a kid, that I used to have this whole library of books when I was a kid that you read from, you read half the book from one way, and then you flipped it over and you read the second story from, it flipped around. It was pretty cool. Anyway, so this is letter practice, and this was basically from what I did. I was sick at one point, and so I spent a billion hours doing letter practice from Joanne Sharp's book. And so what I've done since I got done with working my way through most of her book is I've done fonts that I liked, and I cut out things. This was from a Starbucks bag, and I practiced writing some stuff. On this side, I took a picture of something I liked with all different kinds of fonts. I tested out pens and so forth. So this is all stuff I cut out. So this is more like a combination of an art journal and working through a book, different samples of using lettering. So anyway, testing out different pens on different kinds of cardstock and so forth. So anyway, that's that one. This one is paste paper. So I just used a couple of pieces of paste paper and glued on the covers, edged it with some Inca Gold, put some Inca Gold on the spine. So the paper only goes this far. So I'm not seeing anything in the chat here for a minute, so I'm just going to test my chat. Okay, seems like it's working. When you guys stop talking, it's like we all get nervous, right? So anyway, so this was all done with paste paper, and that's that one. You're mesmerized. Okay, that sounds good, Rain. Thanks. This one's all fabric. This is another chunky one. This was from Kylie Givehand's, what did she call that? It was a prompt that she did in July one year, and journaling and artistic prompts. And so I decided to use this book. And so this is muslin, and what did I do? I sprayed it with stencils And there's some modeling cream on here from Viva Decor, and there's words. I almost always have, Janet says, she can't shop and chat at the same time. Okay. These were handmade stencils. Handmade. I made them using freezer paper that originally came from foam stamps that I stamped and then hand cut out the stencils. That's what that was. And it's done with gesso and a bunch of other stuff in the background that I don't remember now. Anyway, it's muslin. So I used this to do all of the prompts and the writing from the class that Kylie Givehand did. And I think she has an ebook out now that I don't know if it includes these journal prompts or if it was a different set or what. Anyway, I bought her ebook, but I haven't truthfully gone through it yet. So a lot of journaling, a lot of, again, it was a combined thing of combining writing and art, which I like to do. So I'm just going to whip through this. So what I did is I printed off whatever her prompt was, and I glued it in my journal, and then I did, whatever struck me that day, so I tried to stay up with the days. Sometimes I got behind by a day or two. These are faces from some of my dolls. This was playing around with the technique because you were supposed to do something different, as I recall. So that was working with sandpaper. So these are the sandpaper pieces, and these were the prints that I got. So these were sandpaper and crayon, like Crayola. These were from this was actually a misprint. My printer was out of ink. And I printed out this whole big thing. I'm like, I'm going to use that. So I did. So, just various things. But as you go through, there's a lot more writing than there is just art in here. So these are copies of a couple of my journal pages. And this is from my book, Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore. So this is an illustration, one of the illustrations in the book. And I cut it out. I originally had colored it with, what did I color it with? I don't know. Pastel, maybe. Maybe pastel. Anyway, this is a copy of it. And again, just playing with various things. This is Sukaniko ink and Prismacolor and anyway, so, and then this was a little book. So I don't remember exactly why I did this book. We'll find out. I think it's a found relatives kind of thing, but I got to remember how to open my little book. I don't know what is in here. I think that's what it is. Yeah, found relatives. It's my version of blob art, and these are watercolor blobs, and so they're just watercolor blobs that I put down and then figured out what was there, and then I captioned them. Welcome to my world. Feeling fancy. He's not either imaginary. He's for reals. So anyway, these are just blob things. Green apple, good. Don't ask me. I have no idea what I am. Hi, Deb. Two-faced? No way. Anytime where this came to be, this idea is from Angela. What's her last name? Thompson? She spells her last name, she spells her first name like Angelia, but she pronounces it Angela. And she was the first place that I saw anybody that did faces like that. And her artwork is incredible. So this says, please, 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 please. And it is not a rug. It is not a rug. So anyway, that's that book. Again, this is a flip book. So you flip it over. And then on this side are found relatives. So this is Aunt Lou. So these all start with just blobs of watercolor, and then you find the what's in there. This is Cousin Corinne. This is Third Cousin Poindexter. This is Great Aunt Lottie. Any of you that have read my book, Normal Doesn't Live Here Anymore, will know why this is very appropriate. Just saying. This is Great Aunt Lottie. This is Cousin Bill. All of these names are made up. Aunt Millie. Auntie Millie. This is Second Cousin Sonny. This is Uncle Bob. And this is Cousin Tom. I haven't looked at this in so long. This is Aunt Mary and Uncle Stan. They're married to each other. Reminds me of the old poem, you know. Betwixt them both, they lick the platter clean. Bye, April. Nice to have you here. And this is Great Uncle Fred. And this is Butch, second cousin twice removed. So this whole thing came about basically from a class I did with Carla Sondheim. And so that's where that came from. Anyway, it was appropriate for whatever this particular prompt was on this day. Anyway, so it's stuck in this little, it's stuck in my page here. This, you were supposed to do something with a hole and, you know, so forth and so on. Numbers, lots of writing. I don't know what this was done with. Anyway, I love rainbows. Oh, this was about a hump. Her prompt that day was a pretty hump. She wanted everybody to do their idea of a pretty hump. So my idea of a pretty hump was rainbow. Heritage. So this was about heritage, family trees, that kind of thing. This was a birthday card that I did, and so this is a picture of the birthday card I did, and it's done with, the background is deli paper, and then the top of it, the birthday cake, is all drawn with ink, with the dropper and the ink bottle. And here's more of being silly. And so this is Mama and her boys. So these are the same kind of little blob ink things, and then making people out of them. This was about doodling. And this is another one done using just the dropper out of the ink bottle. And this is about friends. This is about best friends. And this is my best friend in the whole wide world. And these are my friends that I get together with. So I just tip these in. We get together frequently. This one right here is my friend that we lost. We went through a cancer battle with her, and so I just put that in there. And this I flipped in. So this is about the new website, which is up and running, of course, and so forth and so on. Let's see what this one is, because I don't remember. We'll see. So this is another little book that was, oh, the prompt was make a book, so I did. These are pieces of deli paper. So they are very thin. And I think they're jelly prints. So these are all done using the jelly plate and deli paper. But these were some of my favorites, and so I put them in this book. What I like about this is you can see the back side of the deli paper. So for example, you can see the hand here, right? So this has a hand in it, but when you look at it from the other side, you can't see that. So what I like about this, doing the deli prints, using the deli paper, is that you get to see the back side of the paper that's different often than it is if you've done layered monoprints, which is what I like to do. It's not always the same on the front, you know, sometimes you get a different look on the back. So anyway, okay, moving on. So those are all the prints using deli paper. So different sizes. I love this one. I absolutely love this print. This is actually the deli paper. So this was truly a monoprint. You know, it's not a practical book, but it's a book. And see, there's the hand. But you can barely see it on the other side. And I love hands. I love to use hands in my work. Yeah, and so there you go. So that was my book that I made. That was for that prompt. So that's why this particular book is filled up, or nice and fat. So there's more doodle kinds of things. So those are all just doodle flowers. I think they might have had some stamping. Did they? I don't know. I think the square shapes were the stamps. This was Play With Your Food. And so this was, we went out and had tiramisu one day. Yeah, it's a cute little book. I like it. So I sketched the tiramisu that we had, and this again is an illustration from my book. And the reason this says ooh la la is because my mother, who loved latte, I spoiled her and got her into drinking latte. And she couldn't remember latte, so she called it ooh la la. So that's why that got called ooh la la. So this is apparently when it was hot. I don't know, but it looks hot. This was the reverse of the previous page, and so forth. So that looks like that might be most of what's in that book. Anyway, so it's got room for some more journal prompts and stuff. But anyway, this one is done with muslin and various kinds of things done on it. This one is also muslin that is all jelly. It's printed with the jelly plate. This was when I was very first getting into jelly plate printing. And I loved the way this turned out. This piece of fabric turned out absolutely beautifully. I could never repeat that. I loved how all the hands turned out on it. So, you know, I was just starting to get familiar with the jelly plate, and this was just dumb luck. This was just dumb luck to come up with this, but I love it. And I stitched the muslin onto felt, and so it padded it a little bit. So this is one piece. This is one piece of the printed muslin. Yeah. But I loved how it turned out. So anyway, this was a definite writing journal spilling kind of journal. I did incorporate a little bit of art here and there, but it's mostly writing. This page over here, see this one? This has a lot of really ugly stuff behind it. And that is what I do. When it's really ugly, I put it in here, and then I blot it all out with black gesso, and I put something on top of it that makes me feel good, because I can't remember now what was in there. Here's more. Blot it out. As you can see down here, it says, and this too shall pass. And so, yeah, I had stuff I had to get rid of, and so I get it out of me. I cover it up with black gesso, and then I do something on top of it. So I just was playing around with some Zen Tangle, whatever ideas. Sometimes I just have stuff that gets stuck in here. Sometimes I cut out things. Sometimes I put in pockets, but that's that. And I love that one. I have another one. Let me see if I can tell you which one it is. Oh, and if all else fails, if it's really ugly, if it's really bad, then I will cut out the paper, which is what I did here. I cut it out and I put in a piece of cardstock to replace it. You can still see, you know, some, and I burned those pages, you know. So I'm just saying, it's a good idea to get that crap out of your head, out of your heart, get rid of it, and make something else with it. I didn't glue the pages together except for this one, the letter book. I did glue 2 pages together and then put a piece of tape on the edge. So this is the only one I've glued pages together. And that was because I knew some of the pins were going to go through. So this one is, this is a funny piece. This is like canvas, like drop cloth. I know, Rain. I know. Thanks, Colleen. Colleen said she liked the flower doodle. This piece of fabric I found when I was cleaning out some stuff for that my son was getting rid of, and I found this piece of fabric in with some of his stuff. And I'm like, well, that is cool. And so I saved it. This was fabric that he had done all the color on. And he had written Growth of the Heart. And so he had written that. That's in his handwriting. And so I kept it. And then I decided I wanted to do something with it. So I did some stamping on it. I added these. This is a paper pieced heart. This is fabric. This is paper pieced, as in woven. I'll show this to you up close. Let me get these books off of here. Sorry. Okay. So this is woven strips of some of my papers. So I've woven them together and then I've stitched on them. And same thing on this one. So those are individual strips of paper that are woven together and then I stitched on it and so forth. So, yeah. Anyway, so I added that, and then my husband embellished and created the embellishment for me. It's a butterfly. He twisted that out of wire, copper wire, so I stitched it to the cover of the book. So more of the same kind of thing, but this is another page that I was going to show you. Same thing. You know, a lot of ugly stuff that I wrote on this page that I don't want anybody to read, and I didn't ever want to see it again, so I wrote it on there, then used black gesso. I blotted it all out. I smeared Inca Gold on top of it to give it some interest. And then I cut out these flowers. I think it was from wrapping paper or something. Somebody sent me that. And then I painted the stems in using Inca Gold. And then this is a piece of my paste paper, I think it was. And I tied it into a bow. I left it a little bit dimensional and then glued it in. How do you weave the, you just truly do put the strips down and then weave in between. So it's literally, give me a minute, I think I can show you. I think I can show you an example, Colleen. Give me a second. It may show better in this. I did these on stream a long time ago. Okay, do you see the little pieces in the background that form her dress? that should give you the best look at what I'm talking about. So it's literally strips of paper one direction and then woven in with strips going the other way. And then I cut them out. In this case, I cut them into making her dress. This is not stitched at all. The ones that are on the front of that journal are stitched. So I cut that into a dress shape, stamped some wings, made her hands. So I did that on a stream a while back. So here's another one. So maybe that'll give you the idea of what I'm talking about. And I turned them into little ornaments. These are some of my stamped faces or drawn faces or something. I don't remember. Anyway, does that help? Hopefully. Hopefully that'll give you the idea of what I'm talking about. You just weave it. It's just like you would weave strips of fabric. You weave paper or cardstock. This one is jelly print. So this is a jelly print. And this is on duck cloth. So it's more of a canvas type thing. So another writing journal. And then this one is done using an old quilt. And this is a quilt that they call cutter quilts. And what it is a quilt that is completely falling apart. This one had no family history. This actually had been rescued by somebody else because whoever it was using it in the bottom of a dog crate. And she thought it was too pretty for that, so she rescued it and gave it to me. Well, it was full of holes and falling apart. And so I patched it together as best I could. I replaced some of the pieces, like these pieces right here. These two pieces had completely rotted away, so I cut pieces from another section of the quilt, put them in here, and then did stitching, doodling stitching. There's some hand stitching and so forth. And this is machine stitching, and I stopped doing all of the machine stitching before I intended to. I needed to get it done for whatever I was doing, and so I went ahead and glued it onto the book. So this is old quilt. I would never do this to a quilt that I valued. I would never do this to a quilt that had family history attached to it. But I will do this at any point in time to one that is falling apart. Hey, Cheryl. Thanks, Christy. And this little button, this is a porcelain button that one of my customers back when I had a retail store, she did a line of porcelain buttons for me. I had a machine knitting store back in the day, and so she she did porcelain dolls, and so I asked her if she would do some porcelain buttons for me. So she did a line of porcelain buttons for me. Okay, so that brings us through the composition notebooks that I have on hand. I've given some away through the years, but yeah, I thought we'd play with making some more, because I need some more. Any questions so far? If you do, put them in the chat with capital letters. And I don't know how much we're going to get done today, because I've literally rattled on for almost an hour. So we're going to see what happens. So I thought what I would do, first of all, is make one with duct tape. Because why not? I have some. So I've got some different colors and patterns of duct tape. I chose the ones that, well, some of them are more solid than others. And I thought what we'd do is just kind of play with the idea of putting some duct tape on some cardstock. And so this is just plain old Duck brand duct tape. Duck as in D-U-C-K. Duct tape as in D-U-C-T. All right. And if you hear the sponsors in the background, they're restless because we've had no sunshine today, so they have not been soaking up the sunshine. Now I can hear Chance in there, and he is playing in the box. And that's Charlie. Charlie is now meowing. He's whining about about his sorry lot in life, you know. So I'm just sticking down duct tape here. Just kind of in random patterns. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. So I'm going to do this for a few sheets of cardstock. Then I'm going to emboss it, and then I'm going to decide how I'm going to stick it down in or on the cover of this journal. I know, Charlie has that voice where he goes, when he sounds so mournful, you know, when he's feeling put upon, he's in there and he'll go, meow, meow. It's really pitiful. Those of you who might happen to be new here today or watching me for the first time, we call them the sponsors because they allow me to do this. And they are two big, fat Siamese cats that live behind door number 1, which is right back there. They live behind door number 1 when I am streaming. Except when I do impromptu streams, they have the run of the place. When I'm doing a stream like this, they live behind door number 1. And if the door was not shut, just so you know, if the door was not shut, they would still be in there most of the time. So it is not like they are abused by being closed in that room. That's where they prefer to be. Okay, so we about got this one covered. So I'm just sticking stuff on here, just patchwork like. Once I've got it on here, then I'm just going to go over it with a bone folder, just to kind of burnish all the edges down. If you have one of those wedge type of bone folders, you could do this a lot quicker. But this is the one I have, so this is the one I'm going to use. And then just so I don't end up causing myself great difficulty in a little bit, I'm going to cut off all the extra sticky bits around the edges. Otherwise, this is going to make my life miserable after a while. Now, you of course could stick the duct tape straight down on the surface of your book if that's what you wanted to do. But that's not what I wanted to do, you know. Anybody can just stick duct tape on the surface of something. We got to jazz it up a little bit, you know what I mean? As Paula, Journal Artista, would say, know what I mean, Burn? I didn't get to watch her stream much from Wednesday. I know she was watercoloring. I was watching it in silent mode because my granddaughter was here. And we were chatting and doing stuff together, and she was doing laundry and what have you. Okay, so there's one piece done. So we're going to do a few more. Now, I wanted to tell you too that you could use this shiny duct tape, and this is the stuff used to put dryer vents and stuff together. And you get it at the hardware store or the dollar store, and you can do the same thing that I'm doing here, but it's so highly reflective. And you can see my ceiling fan going around, and I thought that'll drive everyone positively crazy. So I'm not using that. I'm not using that today, although I think it would be great. If you need a way to know where the end of your duct tape is, if you'll put a paper clip on it like that, it keeps it from sticking tightly down to the roll. Hi, Mickey. And so it allows you to open it back up. Then you can, you know, easily find the end. Then you can pull your paper clip off, unless it's stuck tight to tape, then you might sacrifice a paper clip and you might have to get a new one. So clearly I can't measure by eye or anything else. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I'm just going to keep putting tape on here. In this case, I'm going to just go the whole distance. At my Hobby Lobby, my local closest one to me, they had a whole ton of duct tape back in the, what I call the down and dirty section. It's the part where they're getting rid of stuff. They had a ton of duct tape back there, let me tell you. So if you're close to Hobby Lobby and you're interested in duct tape, you could check there to see if they still had any. I don't know because I haven't been there for a while. So we are knee-deep in Santa production at the moment, along with the rest of the stuff I've got going on. And so that's what I've been doing late at night. My husband is carving them, and then I do the painting and the finishing. So it's been a busy place around here. All their faces are on, of the ones that we have that he has finished at the moment, or that he had finished when I started. Oh, come on now. You know, just like the worst part about duct tape is how sticky it is. And after all, that's the point. That's the point. Hey, Susan. I haven't seen you for a while. Miss Love Ribbons. How are you doing? You get your wedding done? I hope. I probably shouldn't ask. Probably shouldn't ask those things. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to try and even the edge. We're just going to shortcut it and cut right through the cardstock, which would have been smarter to do all along. Duh. Every once in a while, don't you just surprise yourself with your own lack of brilliance? Like, what was I thinking? Yeah, it works. That paperclip idea works great with packing tape. It surely does. But I'm not saying that one paperclip will last you for a long time. All right, let's just even this. No, I'll leave it. Okay, so there's another one. So we got 2 of them so far. All right, let's do another one. You got it, Rain. So Santas are coming, as I said. Once I get the faces done, then they get to watch me paint the rest of them, and I always like that. Which sounds just screwy or not get out, but it's the truth. It's just the truth. I get to see their personalities emerge once I get their faces on. It doesn't mean that I don't go back and make adjustments from time to time, but so anybody got any questions about anything or comments or what have you, feel free. sticky situation over here, people. It's a sticky situation. So I'm going to do one more piece after this, which probably won't be enough to cover both sides of the composition notebook, but it'll probably be enough to cover one cover anyway. All right, and what are we going to do on this one? Maybe I'll just put some more green on it. Hey, Xandra. Nice to see you. Okay, now we're going to shortcut this whole thing since I smartened up on the last one. And cut through the cardstock. That way you don't fight the tape. Falls in the category of duh. Hey, as long as you learn, you know? So Clausman is working on another piece, another Santa piece that is going to be so interesting. It's it's not a full figure, it's a bust. Sorry, my throat is giving me a little bit of irritation at the moment. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting one to, it'll be interesting for you guys to see it. I won't show it to you till it's done, but, you know, I think it's going to be cool. Okay, so let's put some more strips on this. Hey, Cindy. Nice to see you. I don't know if this will tear on the diagonal. Probably won't. Nope. It will only tear straight. The disadvantage of trying to be fancy and put it on the diagonal is that it will not tear. Good enough. Good enough. Put some splots. Oh, you never know, Cindy. You never know. The other day I checked and I wasn't following anybody. Is that funny or what? You know? Oops. Rolling on my keyboard. Well, looks like we have a good signal so far today. So maybe my friends with the internet really did do something last night. That would be good, wouldn't it? I certainly have had enough trouble with it. Here I'm talking about Clausman. Looks like he's in the chat. Y'all need to give him some trouble, you know. One day, I don't know if it was last week or the week before or whatever, he'd gone up to Starbucks without me, and he was having tea up there at Starbucks watching me. He was. Oh, and the winged messengers that we did a couple weeks ago, they are winging their way across the country to Raceman and his girlfriend for them to distribute. So we'll see. You know, maybe he'll send us some pictures. It is a squirrely issue, isn't it, Carrie? Sometimes it's USTREAM squirrely, and sometimes it's internet provider squirrely. And I got a call today from India earlier, and that was my newest friend at the internet company, calling to see if I was happy with whatever had gone on with my, internet. Had they got it all fixed? It's like, well, I don't know yet. I thought it was fixed time and time again, and I don't know. All right, I'm only evening up these edges just so that this doesn't cause me a problem in a minute. Well, let's hope it doesn't. It could all go horribly wrong at any moment, you know. Clausman's always in trouble. He has a hard life. You guys should really give him some sympathy, because he has a hard life with me, you know. He really does. Yeah, Clausman goes on the naughty list. That's right. Okay, so these are pretty well stuck down. So I don't know if this is enough to get, what I want to do done, but we're going to start here and we're going to kind of play around with it and see what we can accomplish. So what I have here is, I have my die cutting machine, which is mechanical. This happens to be a big kick. And I have some embossing folders. So we're going to emboss this duct tape covered cardstock. All right, so we have to remember how the embossing folder thing works, because I don't use this enough to know. I think it's this way. All right, so I'm just going to look in here and pick out a couple of embossing folders. And I have no idea which way this is going to go, so I'm just going to put it in here and see. So I've got it stuck in there, okay? So let's see how it works, huh? Okay, can you see it? There you go. Catch it in the light and you can see. So it puts some texture on the tape. All right, so let's do another one. This one is a bunch of gears. That one was called Typeset. I don't know if you can see that but this one is called Typeset. That's what it says down there. It's a Cuttlebug folder. This one is a Cuttlebug folder, but it's called Clockworks. And so we're going to put this one in here. The reason I cut off all that duct tape around the edges is so it wasn't going to stick to everything, like the platform and the cutting pads and all of that. Oops, just smacked the microphone. Sorry. Okay, so there's that one. So the duct tape is embossed, and so is the cardstock is embossed, of course. Okay, so I got two more. Let's see what else we got. I don't care for that one so much. You know, when you're first getting into doing stuff, you just buy everything. Because you go, yeah, you need to have that one. Let's see if we can make this work. Can we? No. Can we? I don't know if you're supposed to do this or not, but we're going to do it. Sorry guys, I keep smacking my microphone. That probably was just really obnoxious. Okay, so there's part of that one. So I have no idea if this is going to work, but we're going to see what happens. It may just smash everything out that I just put in. It could. It could. So if I blew your eardrums out by smacking the microphone, I deeply apologize for that. I'll try to avoid that this time. Okay, so this time I ran it through a folder that had keys on it. So I got part of it on one end and part of it on the other end. So it worked. I'm surprised. I have to say, I'm surprised that that worked. Hi, Tam. Okay, so this is a Tim Holtz embossing folder, so we'll use it for part of it. And the name of this one is Retro Circles. Retro Circles. So it has embossed like that. All right, so I'm going to turn it around and see if I can get the rest of this. Let it go. Yeah. And see if I can emboss the other side of this. Carrie, I think that's what I heard also, that the Scrappy Camper Sisters are streaming tomorrow because last week they couldn't. Okay, so there's the whole thing. I got it. There's the other side. Okay. Now there's this one section down, this one side I didn't get. Maybe we should do that. Should we? Perhaps we should. Let's take a longer folder. Just because it'll get it all in one. I won't be able to do that unless I bend it under. Nah, we'll just go with it the way it is. We'll just go with it as is. Okay, so let me put these away. And so I just keep these rubber banded together with a great big rubber band. And I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way. And then we'll see if this is going to work, shall we? Okay, so big kick is moved. All right, so let's take one of these composition notebooks. The tape is now securely squashed down. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fine. It's gonna work fine. It's gonna work fine and dandy. It's gonna work dandy. Okay. Alrighty. Just looking at how I want to do it. Oh, that'll fit all the way across there. Oh, that will be great. All right. That'll be great. We'll just do that like that. Okay. Why do I keep saying that? I don't know. I'm going to attempt to go in the other room behind door number 1 to get my rotary cutter. Hi, Sophia. And I will be right back. Wish me luck, people. Wish me luck. I'm going behind door number 1. Yeah. Whew, I made it. I made it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is trim this up. So that I get some straight edges to deal with. Okay. And I'm going to straighten this one just on the outside chance that maybe it's not straight. Okay. So we're going to just build this as we go. So I have a straight edge that I just cut here and a straight edge that I cut there. The other 2 edges we'll deal with if we have to later, which we probably will. Okay, so I'm going to use my old friend, because this has cardstock on the back. This will be easy to work with. So I'm going to use my old friend Tacky Glue. And let's see, how far do we need to add the Tacky Glue here? Up to the bottom of that. Okay. Now, you could use a variety of glues or Yes Paste or whatever you'd like to do here. I personally am really fond of Tacky Glue or Crafter's Pick. Those are my 2 favorite glues. And I'm going to spread it. You can spread it with a variety of things. This is a Bondo spreader. This is a putty knife, a plastic putty knife. And this is the Ranger spreader. And so you can spread it with a variety of things. I'm going to spread it with the Bondo spreader because it gives me a faster, covers a bigger surface. And because it covers a bigger surface, it goes faster. And so I'm putting a nice thin coat. Sometimes I have to go back and I have to add more around the edges later, but you know, hey, that's okay. That's okay. And a little bit of baby wipe to wipe off the glue is helpful. Hey, Sandy Chick. Hey, Jonna. We were just talking about you. Were your ears burning? Were your ears burning? Okay, so I'm going to butt this up to that. Sometimes I go all the way over it, but in this case, I'm going to just butt up to it. Okay, like so. Now, it would be a good idea to disappear under the table and get a brayer. And I don't have a very thick coat of glue there, so I may have to put it under something heavy. Like I have a book press. I may put it in my book press later to make sure that it gets nice and dry, or, you know, has good contact. Okay, let's let's pick another one. Okay, might like that one. And I might like actually I might like that, like so. No, I don't want it going that way. I want it going this way. I want it going a different direction. Okay, I'm going to do it this way with this one. I do believe. Okay. So, I need to even some edges again. So I'm going to even these 3 edges just to make sure they're straight. Well, that's what somebody told me, and I may be talking out of school on that. You know, I heard that, but I may be all wet. So, Jonna, forgive me if I said the wrong thing. It's always best if you're using a rotary cutter to stand up. You get the best pressure, and I believe truly that you get the most control with it. And when you're dealing with something that is as sharp as a razor blade, you definitely want to have control, okay? Okay. So we have 3 straight sides, I think. We hope. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how far I need the glue here. So it's basically this far. So I'll just give myself a little guideline right there. And I'm going to put on more tacky. Jonna, how are things going in Dominica? Okay, once again, just spreading the glue evenly. And just making sure that I've got it clear up to the edge there. Okay, so we're going to put this on. But the cardstock allows, I mean, you could stick the duct tape straight down to the cover, right? But you're not going to be able to get the texture, which is what I wanted. And so I needed to have the texture. Now this little strip here, there's a little bit that doesn't have any texture on it because it wouldn't fit. It didn't fit. It fit and did. Okay, not bad, not bad. So now I got to decide what it is I want to do. So we have that much. So now what I want to do here, right? I think this was what I wanted to do. And then of course I'm going to have a little bit up there. So I'm going to just cut this more so I piece that part in. Because it's better to have to do a bigger piece than a smaller piece. All right, standing up to even things off again. Okay, so we have this piece trimmed up, and the reason I put the deli wrap in there is just to kind of protect the paper a little bit. So I'm going to put this in here, and then I'll worry about piecing in that little piece in a minute. And I'm just going to spread it with my finger this time because the area is small. All right, so like so. But by having that cardstock under it, that's going to make a nice adhesion. You know, it gives it a good surface to stick to the tacky glue. So all we have left is this one little bitty spot here. So maybe we'll just stick this. I think we'll just put this little piece in here. So again, I need to have it even. Okay, so I need this side evened up. And this side evened up. Okay, put in a little gluage. And stick it in. Okay, now this needs to dry at least a little bit more than it is now. The glue needs to set up a little bit. And so I'm going to put it off to the side, and I'm going to put another piece of deli paper on top of it, and I'm going to put a big old book on it and let it sit for a little bit while we go on to the next one. So I'm only going to cover the front cover of this one. Okay, so let me go put it over here and put a book on it, and then we'll work on it in a minute. Looking for a book heavy enough to sit upon it. Okay, moving on. Let's go to book number 2. Okay. No camper duct tape. That is true. Sad but true. Okay, so this is some jelly plate fabric that I have. This is a piece that I did a while back. Can you see it? It is black cotton fabric with a variety of acrylic paints. Many of them are metallic because metallic works very well on black. All right, so I'm going to figure out if this is big enough. Is this big enough to go around the book? It is. Okay. So now I'm going to decide how I want it, which is probably like that. All right, so I'm going to cut it oversized from what I need, and it's about there. Let's see if it'll tear. All right, so we have that. We have a piece of jelly plate printed fabric. Bye, Colleen. Thanks for coming. All right, so that's going to go around like this. And I don't need all of this, so I'm going to cut off part of this. So now I've got it down to a manageable size piece of fabric. So that's helpful. That's helpful. All right, so I'm going to do it similarly to I'm just testing to make sure I've got enough room here. Okay, so I'm just going to open it up and I'm going to spread on the glue, and attach the fabric. Easy peasy. Now you don't really want to overdo the glue, but you want to have enough that you get a decent coat of glue. So again, spread it. And I need another piece of deli paper. Or parchment paper would work as well. It just kind of helps to keep the stuff from all gluing together to begin with. It's not uncommon for me to glue the pages together as I'm working on them accidentally. As a accident, as my son used to say. But I kind of like to not start out gluing things together. So just going around the edge one more time just to make sure, if possible, that we have enough. Hi, Trina. Okay, that's pretty good. That will work. Now you can, when it comes to the spine area, you can glue the spine or not. I've done both. Sometimes I only, like on the duct tape one, I only went part of the way over and I've left the spine intact. On this one, I'm just going to leave the spine free. So I'm not going to glue the spine. It's totally a matter of personal preference. Thanks, Rain. So a little bit more tacky glue, my old friend. Another piece of deli paper. To protect the book from this side, so I don't have to be quite so careful. These are for myself, actually, because I blow through them several a year for various purposes. I didn't even show you all the ones I have. I use composition notebooks all the time. But I love having different covers on them because I know what's in them just by looking at the cover. It's the best for me. Some people like to have one cover that they switch around, make a removable cover, and then they always have that for the cover or the notebook that they're working on. That just doesn't work for me. I need different covers for the different subjects, different books and different subjects. Jonna, I don't know if you answered or if I just missed it. How are things going in Dominica? So again, just going over the edges. I probably missed it. So just going around the edge. You like them too, Cheryl. If you get hung up on composition notebooks, let me tell you, they are addictive. I like them because the paper doesn't pull out. I just like them. I like them. Okay, just getting the glue off my hands here. So I'm just going to pull the fabric around, smooth it. Now that is good fortune right there. Do you see where the edge of the book is? It's down there. There's no paint. And that part just worked out. Okay, thanks, Jonna. I just missed it. Yeah. Are they getting... Is anything making progress for them? Okay, so there's that one. Okay? So there's the front and then the back. Now this is wet all the way through, and it will have to sit, and it will have to definitely dry. Now I have some scraps here that I thought I was going to play around with just a little bit. I don't know that these will work, but I'm going to play with them just a little bit just to see if by some chance something might work on here. So these are some leftovers from some things that I was doing. You're not going to be able to see them because they're black. But I kind of like the fact that they're black and they don't stand out a whole lot. Let me show you what they look like. They are pieces of fabric that I pieced together. They were pieced together like this was pieced together. Only instead of these colors like this, they were pieced together on this. They were pieced together with blacks. Black backgrounds, basically. And here's a couple more. So this one was yellows and greens. This one was in blues and purples. So, might be able to cut rings out of this. That might be fun. Let's play with that idea. Let's play with that idea. My good sewing scissors are in behind door number 1, so we're going to just not... I'm going to have to disable the phone. Hold on a minute. I am on somebody's list at the moment, and I have so much spam coming in that I had to take my phone off the hook again. All right, what I'm doing is I'm going to see if I can cut out rings. Because this is just scrap anyway. So Tim Holtz scissors to the rescue. because my good fabric scissors are behind door number 1, and I already was successful once going behind door number 1. We don't want to push our luck. Okay. So let's do that again. That worked. Let's do it again. So these are, I'm doing them, cutting them out in a wonky fashion, purposely. I got one more little guy here, so let's do that one. I can get that one out, I think. I think. We'll just come here. So these are formed, these background pieces here were formed from little tiny bitty itty bitty scraps. These were. And they were, I put them together. You might be able to see all of the mishmash of scraps. These are little tiny, these are like the tiniest little pieces. I put them together and I stitched around them to hold them in place and made new fabric out of itsy tiny little bitty scraps. It worked, people, it worked. Okay, let's just come in here. So I used the circles that I cut from this. These were die cut with a Sizzix die. So I used the circles for another project. So these are just the leftovers. At some point, the leftovers and the scraps will finally go away, and there will be nothing left to use. So I think I might like this. We're going to find out. All right, there's another one. And maybe this one. I like making my own stuff. You know, my own. Some of these are hand-dyed fabrics. Some of them are, a lot of them are commercially dyed. Some of them are batiks. Some of them are metallics. But I sorted them all into color families. I thought when I did this project using the original pieces from this, I thought, oh, I'm going to use up so many scraps. Yeah, that didn't happen. I barely dented the scraps that I had. So I got enough of these colorful scraps to make a whole bunch more projects. But just think, if I'd thrown those away, I wouldn't have had this. All right. So we have 4 of one, 3 of another. Okay, so here is our book. Let's see if by some chance it might be dry enough. That I can cut around the edges. And once again, I'm using Tim Holtz scissors, which will cut fabric. They're not my first choice, but you know, hey, they're doing okay. Not too bad, not too bad. And I'm just going to go as far as the front cover. I'm not going to worry about the back cover at the moment. You like the way I think, Trina? It's kind of scary sometimes. It's a little scary sometimes. And one of the things I like to do is I like to edge, once this is fully dry, I'll come back and I'll edge all around where the fabric meets the cover. I'll edge it with a metallic paint, because I find that that is the last little thing that seals the fabric down to the notebook cover, is to edge it with paint around here. And it gives it a little bit more of that kind of arty-farty kind of feel, which is something I like sometimes. And it also distracts the eye in case, you know, you have a little miscut on the edge, you know, where things are a little wonky or something, a little wonkier than you intended for them to be. Kind of distracts your eye from that as well. Okay, so there you go with that. So now you can see that the edges of the front cover are evened up, right? And actually we can take, well, I already did take it. Now you can take the paper out. Oh, that's good, because I already did. Okay, quit sticking to the deli paper. There you go. Quit sticking to the deli paper, okay? That's why you put it in there, but I don't want to necessarily glue it to the deli paper permanently. Okay, so far so good. We all think the same. You think so, Christy? I don't know. It's a little frightening. It's a little frightening. All right, where did my circles go? Okay, did I like scoop them off on the floor, or what did I do with them now? My rings. Seriously, what did I do? Duh. Okay. All right, so here we go. So we got that. Now let's play with these rings, because now I can see what's going on. Now I can see what's going on. All right. And of course, we can interlock the rings, which is fun. We should do that. Okay, so we can interlock some rings. And we might take one of these. See, now this is the kind of stuff I can fiddle fart around with. Pardon my French. That was probably inexcusably rude. But But I can truly do this for a long time. I can mess with it and mess with it. And I want one somewhere else that's just sort of, okay, like that. That'll work. Okay, so I'm going to glue them down. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack them. Do some tacking just to get things so I can keep it, keep the concept, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to go back. I'll go back and I'll glue them more securely in place. But I'm going to let this one at the bottom hang off. And I'll go back and I'll trim off the excess later. So anyway, I'm going to do just enough that you guys will kind of get the idea. And then I'll finish this later when I can really take my time to finish it. And then I may put some, you know, put some flat buttons or something. I do prefer that the composition notebooks are not real bulky on the cover because I do write in them a lot. And so I do prefer that they're not totally, you know, too bulky on the cover. So, but you can kind of see what I'm going to do. I'm going to work my way around it. Then I'll trim this off later. After everything's dry, I'll cut that off so it has the, you know, hanging off the edge kind of look, which I like. And this one, I'm going to put this one up just a smidge so it kind of has some movement. So since it's by itself, we'll just pick it up, put some gluage on it. But the tacky glue will just glue all that stuff in place. No problemo. Okay, that's glued down. That's good. And then let's glue this one a little bit just so I don't lose my placement. Then I can come back and get it later. And I like that concept of the interlocking rings. That reminds me of people and how we all interlock together. It reminds me of friends. It reminds me of all kinds of relationship type things. And I'm working with my can. The glue is in a can so that I don't have to keep uncapping it. That irritates the life out of me to have to keep uncapping glue to use it or to get the glue down in the tip. And so I'm not going to, I don't do that. I don't do glue that does that. That's annoying. Okay, so you got the idea, right? You got the concept. It's glued down just enough that things are not gonna move on me, and so then I'll go back and I'll finish it up. And that will use up a bunch more of my scraps. Yes. If I decide to get real, tricky or something, I can add some black circles into it. But using the rings like this won't cover up all of the jelly print stuff in the background, and I like that. So that's cool. Okay, so that one is just going to sit and dry until I come back to it later. And when I do come back to it later, then I'll glue the rest of the rings in place. Okay, let me go back. Thanks, Star. Let me get the other one with the duct tape. Now this one might be the one where I put the black circles, because the black will show up well on this. So that's where we might use the black, which I hadn't thought of until this very moment. So I'm just unsticking my deli wrap paper. And now I'm going to go around and I'm going to cut off the excess. Because you got to cut off the excess to see what it really is going to look like, right? So I know that you're not going to be able to see exactly how I'm doing this, but it is what it is. And one of the things that I find helpful when you're making sure that the edges, you want to make sure the edges get stuck down really well, you can put these little clamps like this around the edges and let it sit for a little while longer, and that really helps to make sure that those edges get down real well. Okay, so we're going to come down this side. It's always, you got to go from the right, find the right place to cut, and it's always a challenge. And you can always come back with a piece of like a sanding block, and you can sand against the edge. I'll show you what I mean here in a minute, to make sure that you get all the edges down. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Okay, not bad, not bad. There you go. You can use a sanding block, like one of these, or sanding sponge, and you can actually come down and you can actually sand down. You have to sand down, and that will help to smooth off any of the little, bumps and stuff, jagged places that you have that might show up from your cutting. And so you can do that. That works especially well with like cardstock. So there's the front cover, okay? All right. So that is embossed duct tape. It was put on just pieces of cardstock. This happened to be craft colored cardstock. And then I just put random pieces, and then I ran it through an embossing folder with a die cutting machine, and then glued it down to the cover and then cut off the excess. Okay, so this is a place where some of these circles might fit in because they're black, and they'll show up quite well on this bright colored duct tape. So they could be like little bubbles. So I might do something like that, you know? Who knows? I don't know. But that's another way to use up some of my scrappage, you know? So I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. So we'll come back next week and you'll see what I did. Stay tuned for news. I don't know what I'm going to do. How would you guys know what I'm going to do? Because I don't know what I'm going to do. How would you guys know? Alrighty. So there's that one. So we got 2 of the 3 done today. So that's not bad. So there's that one. The starting of. Or I may just leave it just with the duct tape. Because I like it just with the duct tape. You know, so I might like it just like that. I may go around the edges with either metallic paint or Inca Gold. I like the Inca Gold with the tapes. And then here's this one. This one's done with the jelly printed fabric and some scrappy things that I had left over. And then I have one more that we're going to paint, but I'm not going to do that today. We'll do something with that again. But anyway, I like that a lot. And then I'll probably come back and do the back cover on this one because I really like having both the front and the back done. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more. Don't think I have enough here for doing this. I'm a little bit short. Not by very much, but you know, got to have another, at least one more big piece to do. And I'll do on the back. Fix the back. That's not Muppet. That's Sand. Muppet? No, that's Sandy. I'll say if it's Muppet, she'd have been over here in a heartbeat. So, yeah, that's our Sandy girl. And she doesn't hear worth a bean anymore. So, yeah, she just goes and does her own thing because she doesn't hear me or anybody else. Okay, so anybody got questions? If you do, let me know. Let me clean up a little bit so I can let the sponsors out. Because we know they have been waiting, and not so patiently, I might add. Not so patiently. Yeah, your Muppet is downstairs on the couch. She has a whole couch to herself that basically nobody else sits on. Her couch is covered in rugs and towels, so she can get up there and be there anytime she wants to. She is a very spoiled dog. And Sandy prefers to just be on the floor up here by me. She's usually on the hard floor. On the hard floor. Not the carpeted floor. She's got plenty of carpeted floor to be on, but no, she'd rather just be on the hard floor. Yeah. All right. We got that. Let me move my embossing die cutting machine here. See if I can move it without spilling it. Okay. Success. All right. So, thank you guys for joining me today. All right, we got enough room. Got enough room for the sponsors, so we'll let them come out. Let them join the party, because you know they're waiting. They can't wait to get out here, because they like to see everybody. All right, brace yourselves. Here they come. Are you coming up to say hello? You are? Okay. It was terrible in there today. You were abandoned, weren't you? Come on. You were abandoned in there today, weren't you? I know. Life is rough. Life is rough. Isn't it? Yeah, hi Charlie. Are you coming up? Are ya? Okay, come on. Lay down, Jance. Are you coming up? Come here. You're so big. He's so big. You're welcome, Dar. Thanks for coming, hanging out with me, spending your afternoon. Okay. It takes a lot of room for these two. It takes a lot of room. Okay, here we go. Move over. Can you move over a little bit? Move over just a little bit. There you go. Okay, come on. Here we go. Oh, the camera hog's back. The camera hog is back. Yes, you're a camera hog, aren't you? Lay down. Lay down so they can see you. There you go. Ah, they got to see your pretty face. Whew. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of work to get you guys to get up here. That's not the funniest thing. They get up here so it's like they know what to do, don't they? They are the beautiful sponsors. They let me do this every week. I'll probably be back on late tonight. I won't guarantee you that, but I'm hoping to do that, and I'll be painting Santas. And so it's boring, but if you want to come back, sometimes we get into some interesting discussions, and sometimes there are some interesting stories that show up in that chat. So watch Twitter. I will tweet if I'm going to be able to do it. And I hope to see you maybe then. But it will be impromptu and it will not be recorded, just so you know. So anyway. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming and spending your afternoon here. I really appreciate it from everybody. I sincerely do. And thanks for spending your afternoon here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope it's beautiful. It's homecoming here in the city where I live for the University of Missouri, and so it's going to be a zoo. It's a good time to stay home if you're in my city. College homecoming is just always crazy. Charlie is all settled in. Chance is now going to mark everything on the desk. He's going to rub his face on everything because that's what he does, aren't you? You're going to rub your face on every single thing there is. And Charlie is down for the count because, it's a hard life here. It's a hard life. It's a hard knock life. So anyway, all right. So if you made it all the way to the end of this, if you're watching the recording, bless you. Because you see the same thing every week, the same thing. At the end, the sponsors have to come out and make their appearance because, it's just the way it is. All right, I'm going to go. Let me stop the recording. And again, thanks for joining me. So have a good weekend. See you next week.